this is about the Anthony Karmelo trial. They exposed what the jury missed. I'm gonna upload this on YouTube channel as well. And the channel I want you to know his name is Woody D. So I'm reacting to Woody D on live. You guys go check out his content on his YouTube channel, Woody D.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect if you need to go into all kinds of help headed that way.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
What's up, family? If this is your first time checking out the show, you know what city, what state you're coming in from. If you're outside of the U.S., let me know what country you represent. Throw up your flag. Family, I need you to smash up the likes, smash up the likes, smash up the likes. Family, I got a special guest in the studio all the way from Dallas, checking in to help us navigate through this wild, crazy case. I got trial attorney Andrew Wilkerson in the building. Boom, there he is. That's a good
What's
man.
going on, man?
Hey,
You all
man.
right?
Thanks for coming on the show. I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Just
I like his content too.
you know, trying to
His name
trying to
is
process
Woody D. If y'all
this
check his
case just
content,
like
go to Woody
everybody
D.
else.
Go to his
This
YouTube
is
channel. I don't know if you gotta check out the
what
Instagram.
one might call a juggernaut, right?
Go check out the content.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that you've had a chance to see the incident video, now that the arrest footage has been released, you've heard the 911 call. I'd like to get your perspective as a veteran trial attorney. If you had been the lead counsel on this case, what would you have done differently than either side?
I wasn't there, right? So I didn't see the trial, but I'm sure that I've heard everything that y'all heard, seen everything that y'all seen, okay? But I'm sure by now everyone has heard that he did not testify. Okay. It can't be too many reasons for that. It's either because they weren't prepared for him to testify, which falls on his attorney, or they thought that there was some bad evidence, that was gonna get presented if he testified. So I'm saying all that to say is I would have had Mr. Anthony ready to testify. I would have had, because it seems that, going through the police report, there's many things that need to be further explained. There's many things that need to be further explained. The fact how he says, I think it's on page 2, man. He says, I'm not alleged, I did. He put his hands on me. I was protecting myself. You gotta understand, in a place like Collin County, there's a culture of this man. Okay? He's a black man. He is a black boy. Our culture is different from theirs. They don't really understand how we talk, how we walk. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how white folks took that. Touch me and see what happens.
He warned the boy. He warned the boy.
And that they said that goes towards an intention.
That wasn't a threat. He was warning the boy, if you touch me, you got your hand on
Do
me.
you think that
He was warning the
let's
boy.
say he did say that, does that create a premeditation argument?
No. If he said that, I would face it.
He was warning the boy not to touch him.
And that's the problem.
And the boy touched him anyway. The boy should have kept his hand to the angle there.
So he
gave him a warning.
Threatening him.
He said,
I was
touch
telling
me,
him
you
that
slap me,
if he
you
did
kept his
something, I was
hand
going
to
to
there.
protect myself to the fullest of my capabilities. That's not what you're to him, say.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of letting the jury sit here and go back and discuss what they thought he meant. You understand what I'm saying?
Correct.
And understand, those are just collateral issues. The main issue we needed to test about was the self-defense issue that they tried to get. And, to be quite honest, I was talking to my highly esteemed colleague, Michael Campbell, about this. Even in order to get manslaughter, he probably needed to testify, right? Because for self-defense, you need to testify that you were afraid of serious bodily injury or death.
Correct.
But for manslaughter, you need to tell them you did it because you were angry.
Correct.
Right? The jury was not let into the mind of Karmelo Anthony.
Correct.
Period. And that was just, so that's my answer to that question. I would have had him ready for all of that.
Correct.
What do you think? What do you think the chances are that Karmelo Anthony's defense attorneys purposely sold him out?
Look, man, I usually don't get in other attorneys' business. I say that a lot because it's true. But in looking at what happened, I don't know if he did it on purpose. I don't know if he did it on accident, but it's the same result. Either you one of the good old boys, right, which is bad, or you just so incompetent that you didn't know how to prepare yourself, correctly for this trial, and that's bad. So I don't know if he did it on purpose. All I know is I see the result, and I heard what occurred. And back to your last question too. Even really, you can't say hit me and see what happens, and I punch you in the face, and I'm right for that. That's assault.
Correct.
You see what I'm
Correct.
saying?
Correct.
So I just want to take it back because people got it wrong. That's a
Correct.
collateral issue. That don't matter if he said, touch me and I'll do something.
Correct.
It don't matter. Because
Correct.
I can't be on the street, right? Downtown Dallas or downtown Houston. And
Correct.
somebody say something to me and I just punch him in the face.
Correct.
I'm still going to jail for assault.
Correct.
I'm still the aggressor.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? So verbal provocation is not adequate provocation.
Correct.
I just wanted to,
I
go
agree
back
with you.
on that.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Just
Well,
Correct.
another thing is this, man. I hear the police saying all the time, "Don't move, I'll shoot."
Come on now.
They move and they shoot.
Correct.
And they claim self-defense.
Show me your hands. Don't dig in your pockets. Don't do it.
Correct.
I'll
Correct.
shoot.
Correct.
I'll shoot. I'll blow you up.
Correct.
I'll blow your mother your head off if you do that. You do that. Ah. That's what happened. What's the name? Is the senator Nancy?
Correct.
Yep. And next thing you know, they're saying the magic words. I was in imminent fear. Who says imminent fear? That's culture. The regular person don't talk like that.
Somebody.
Correct. 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 Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Exactly.
I agree.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yeah, Andrew, what do you think it was the single most powerful bit of evidence on both sides?
I think the fact that on the state, let's start with the state side. I think the fact that they were allowed for 21, I think it was 21 witnesses to get up there, and all of them to, render an opinion on an ultimate issue. I heard that the last question for all, because I do this, so I heard that the last question for all 21 witnesses was, do you think this was self-defense? Well, I'm hoping Mike Howard objected, because they shouldn't be saying if it's self-defense in front of the jury, because that is a question that calls for them to make a legal conclusion, and they're not lawyers.
Correct.
So if he objected, that's something that they could take up on appeal. If not, the state might have snuck that one by. But to sneak something by somebody 21 times, again, that either speaks to his incompetence or his involvement. I don't know.
Correct.
I ain't saying which one it is.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And on the go ahead.
I think it's both. I think
It
it's
could
both.
be both.
The reason why I say it's both is because, number one, it was just for him not to present that, for him not to object, but only like one or two times during the entire trial, for him to think he could get away with that. That shows the incompetence. Like, I don't care how smart you think you are. You gotta be short, bust, window, licking slow to think that you're gonna be able to present that case in front of the world, and that people ain't gonna see what happened and call that out. And that's why I believe, that's one of the reasons why I do believe that Karmelo Anthony was able to assemble such a great appellate team of lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
Because those lawyers looked at them like, nah, man, that ain't right. These lawyers got reputations, just like everybody else. They got integrity like everybody else. So they like, man, they're not just gonna put their career on the line for somebody who don't think that they can adequately defend. I think that the reason why those lawyers got on board is because they see this case and they see how unfair it was. And I'll just go straight. I'll call it striker, and a ball. I think what those lawyers did was absolutely criminal. They should be investigated.
Correct.
Also, those 21 witnesses need to be investigated.
Correct.
I'm sure that some of them perjured themselves. The Eddie guy, are you familiar with him?
The guy that said he didn't know him, is that him?
Yeah, the guy who was identified as Carmelo's friend, but Carmelo's girlfriend's cousin in some type of loose relationship as a cousin, right? This guy is the one who called Karmelo over to the tent and told him, invited him to sit down. And then when it went down, he allegedly recorded it.
Mm.
And when the trial happens, he gets on the stand and say, Karmelo wasn't invited. He don't even know who Karmelo was, and they got pictures of him with Karmelo. And he said he didn't even know who Karmelo was.
Correct, and they told him that.
This guy is very sketchy to me.
And the thing for the dude said that they don't know who Karmelo was. They got pictures of him at Karmelo at his house.
Is a
Around his family, take a picture with him and his family, playing the game with him, but he goes, he don't know. I believe that dude set him up.
I
Because
mean,
how dare
look,
you about
I
something
can
you don't
tell
know
you
him?
for certain
They got pictures
that
of you
Colin
at his
County
family house,
will
take a picture with him and
cost
take a
2 months
picture
prior
with
to
him
this,
and
we
your,
got a
he
lot
take
of
pictures with your family and you. And y'all playing games with each other. Why you about something you ain't doing? You doing? I believe you set him up.
We got, 2 months prior to this. And what you have to do is, that's what I'm saying.
For him to say, find out he didn't know
So I
him.
don't know the
when
veracity or the
There's pictures
tenacity
of him
of
and
this
Karmelo
man's
together with him and his
cross-examination. I
family.
don't know
That's
if
crazy.
he was letting them slide on certain things or if he was going at their throat. But, the reason, you don't let nobody go till you finish with them on that stand. I ain't letting you go till I'm finished with you. I'm gonna have a detective up there all morning. If you gotta use the bathroom, you might well go out and use the bathroom, come on back. Cause we're gonna be here for a while until I cover all these questions I prepared. You see? So all you gotta do, if you prepared your cross-examinations for all 21 witnesses, you've seen what they said before, them saying something different from what's in their statement, that ain't no excuse.
Correct.
Oh, that's a dream. Oh, I love for me to review all of your statements that you gave, and you come in here and say some more shit. Please do that, because I'm gonna rip you off the bone.
Correct.
So it just really no excuse for it.
Correct.
And this perjury thing, man, in that murder trial, I told you that I won 2 months prior to that. All white jury, by the way. I got a witness to say that she was lying 3 questions in.
Now, what was the complexion of the just
Of the defendant or the witness?
the defendant and
Black.
and the victim?
Black. Both of them were black.
Okay.
Both of them were black. So, the prosecutor stands up and says, Judge, I'm sorry, I told her if she tells the truth, she'll be fine. And I'm looking like, well, nigga, she didn't tell the truth. She just told the jury she lied. But my point to you is,
He said, I told her she told the truth, she fine. What the hell?
Right? Mr. Willie D, who's gonna charge you? You see what I'm saying? You think the DA about to charge their own witness with perjury after saying what they told? That's the issue with perjury. Perjury is a fallacy. Perjury is for whoever they say it's for. But if you the DA saw a witness and you gonna say what the DA told you to say in this front little room, you see what I'm saying? He's not gonna charge you with perjury.
Correct.
Only way he's gonna charge you with perjury is if you go off the island, if you go off the reservation and say something different that hurts his case. But you're not finna, So that's a dream, all that perjury about. You gotta know how to control your witness. You gotta know what's in your evidence. Yes, and you gotta prep your cross. Your cross might go left. It's gonna be a fork in the road every 5 minutes with your cross, but you're supposed to be prepared for that. So like I say, it's just I can't think of of an excuse, man.
Do you think that Jeff Metcalf, Austin's father, is helping his, I would say his reputation, his public reputation by going on these interviews and speaking? Is he helping or hurting his public opinion?
Is Jeff Metcalf hurting Jeff Metcalf?
Is he hurting himself, and is he hurting the case going forward? Because this ain't over. Karmelo is appealing this decision by the court, and so this is not over. And what I want to know is, have you seen the racist rant that the dad went on?
Man, I think I saw the first 2 and then I just ignored them, man. But to answer your question, I think he's hurting his own image. I think that he's a very outlandish and proud person. I don't know what reason he got to be proud, but he acts very proud. He talks too much. He says racial things. I think he's a bad winner. I think he thinks that this is over and he's won. I think he's a bad winner. He one of them folks, you know, after they beat you, they just got a shit talk. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I think that his comments are reflective
I think you should
of
just
where he
sit
sits
down
though,
and
in the racial argument. You know, I think they're very reflective of what side he's sitting
there be a
on.
conflict for his son to do that stuff that you do.
But you know, I
raise
think
another
it
kid,
helps.
and take out the time
I think it helps
and give
Karmelo
us
sense.
the fact that
And you
his son
mentioned
that
it, the
he
team of attorneys he had. Man, Russell Wilson leading that thing. Man, that's a bad boy. Russell Wilson. I hired Russell Wilson for me. Whenever I got held in contempt, he came to handle my business. So I'm talking about a brain, man. A brain. Like he gonna have smart them folk over there.
Mm-hmm.
He gonna come at them in all different directions, and he gonna have smart them folk, and he gonna do it in a very meek, astute, and just but he gonna be at their throat though. And then you got Justin Moore. You know, he's a civil rights attorney. I know Justin Moore got a couple murders under his belt. Holla at Justin. Shout out Justin. And another thing about Russell, he tries cases and he does appeals. So you're not gonna get too much past Russell. Like Russell knows how to look at that transcript for the trial and point out what's wrong and fix it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I got a lot of faith in that team, and I'm very excited, man. I'm very excited about that.
Mm-hmm. But was this case more about law, facts, or credibility of witness?
I think it was more about the law. Well, if the appeal, let's speak positively. When the appeal is granted, it'll be because about the law. I think right now the case is about the facts. I think that's why they got the result that they got, because they leaned too heavily in the facts, and they didn't use as much of the law to their advantage.
Correct.
And you know, you can't use the benefits of a self-defense claim without the defendant letting the jury inside his head, man. You just can't do that. It was almost like a pump fake or something, like a 3-day long pump fake. I mean, you set it up for him to testify, and then he don't testify, and it's only 2 reasons: either you didn't prep him, or he was scared shitless. But proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. You see what I'm saying?
Correct.
So you would have been prepping him. I mean, what was that, a year ago? This case been pending for a year. You could have prepped him every Sunday. That's 50 times. You could have prepped him every Monday. You see what I'm saying? I mean, and another thing, it's no excuse for it, man, because I've had my client, when we won the murder trial, he was inside. He was in custody. Karmelo was out. Man, y'all can have Sunday dinner by the pool and go over your questions. You see what I'm saying? So it's just no excuse for it, man. And like I say, I'm not the attorney police. I'm not the ineffective assistance of counsel police. That's similar to snitching to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I kind of do this, but I'm just telling you what I would have did. You know, I got a reputation of we 17 and one of murder cases, baby. I don't really talk to the other side. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just telling you what I would have done.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, let me say this. If ineffective assistance of counsel is the only way to get that man home, don't do it. I'm for it. If that's the only way, let's do it. Because that boy needs to come home.
That's right. How much impact do you think that newly released footage of the incident had on the jury, if the jury would have been able to watch that video footage over and over and over again at home?
You saying like it's a bad thing that they could watch that outside of court? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying it's bad or it's good. I'm just asking you. I'm asking you, what do you think about it? What are your thoughts?
I think it confuses things, man. What I think was wrong, and what I think the defense should have tried to find a way to do, because what I heard happen, you can't really see the figures on the video all the way. You can see the scrapping, you can see the commotion, you can see the movement, which is all vital to his defense, right? But I'm hearing that they let somebody get up there and explain who is who. I'm against that. I'm against that. They were many factors.
They can't. They wouldn't be. If I was there myself, I couldn't have told you where I was. Because it's too brainy. It's too blurred. Everything is
Correct.
black.
You can't
All
really
the
see.
people
You can't
in the
really
body
see
are black.
the people up under the
Yeah.
net.
That's right.
But you see people walking
Yes,
past.
sir.
I don't understand people that walk past. Why in the hell they ain't doing first where you got to where it got to?
Right.
Why the people that standing around doing it? They try to stop
Right.
where
You
they just
gotta
standing around.
understand,
Just standing
you
there.
know,
Ain't none of
in
the
these
people that
cases I
walk
do
past
that,
did
I
nothing.
mean,
I'm
there's
not
like,
understanding part.
I mean, maybe on average,
You
400
see the whole bunch of
evidence.
people walk
I delve
past.
deeply into each piece, man. So that one piece of evidence, that's some confusing stuff that they're doing over there to me. But why you releasing it now, first of all? You see what I'm saying? Didn't they release it on Juneteenth or something? Something crazy like that?
I think they did. I think
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, I think it's just confusing because you have to look at all the evidence together. So you got to understand, people are just looking, there's many ways to a win. People are just looking if it was self-defense or not. Well, no. You need to be able to look at all the evidence and see, because what's for certain in this case is the time didn't match the crime.
Correct.
The time didn't match the act. You
Correct.
see what I'm saying?
Correct.
Now, a lot of circumstances around that because he didn't testify. You see what I'm saying? So the jury can't say they know what he was thinking. But, you know, all of the evidence in its totality is important because not only are you trying to get somebody off, get them not guilty, you're also trying to get them as least amount of time as possible. You see what I'm saying? So it could be something on that video that they could have used, you know, to mitigate some evidence. But I heard, you know, that's another thing I heard wasn't, you know, what much of the effort on to mitigate evidence in the punishment phase, which is a big problem, man. That's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Correct.
Let's talk about the knife. Several people have argued that the knife should have changed because the knife was a multi-tool knife and not just a regular knife. That should have changed the way that the verdict came back. Legally speaking, what are your thoughts on that fact?
I don't, legally speaking, I'm glad you prefaced the question with that because a lot of people ain't gonna be happy with my answer. I don't think that matters. If it was a pencil and it was used to kill, it would be, you see what I'm saying? It would qualify as a murder weapon. If it was a highlighter and it was used to kill, you got a deadly weapon finding where the jury gets to decide if the weapon was used in a manner to cause, you know, death. And, you know, no matter what it is, I mean, if it got the blood of, you know, Austin Metcalf on it, you know, it's the murder weapon.
So even if it was legal under Texas law, you're saying that shouldn't change anything?
Well, what I'm saying is I think that was a collateral issue. I don't think there's anything that swayed that gave the jury the ability to check the not guilty box. I think that's a collateral issue the state used to kind of make the jury madder at him. Oh, he has a knife on his full campus. That's what DAs do. They play on their emotions. So even though, you know, his self-defense claim has nothing to do with if he should have added the knife in the first place, that don't really matter. The self-defense is if he thought that he was about to experience serious bodily injury or death. You see what I'm saying? And he used you know, deadly force to defend himself. It don't matter if he should have had the knife or shouldn't have. That's just some extra stuff they threw in there to make them white folks mad. And I'm telling you, in Collin County, what the DA gonna do, it never fails. He came to your community. He's doing this where your kids are going to school. Your kids are supposed to be safe. You know, they're playing that whole part. So even though that's not in the black letter of the law, that is a method they use to try to get the jury on their side and to dislike the defendant.
Yeah.
See? Yeah.
But I can understand why they would do that. I mean, everybody's trying to win, right? So I can understand.
You're right.
To be honest, if I was on that side, I'd do the same thing. You know, my thing is to discredit the other side as much as I can. So I absolutely understand that. But if you were preparing Karmelo Anthony's appeal today, you know, what would be the main issue that you would bring up to try to get that appeal granted?
Well, let's be very clear. I'm not an appeals attorney, but I do know how appeals work. And right now, I think this will be the part where we're getting the investigation done. We might be trying to track the jurors down and interview them. We would definitely be looking at I know that they're looking at the record right now to see what all of the appealable issues are. Again, error has to be preserved by the trial attorney, meaning he has to object in order for those issues to be appealable. They're probably looking at that stuff. The main thing that I've seen and had different conversations with people, in the attorney community is the jury charge. The judge put some language in there that wasn't the law. That spoke about provocation. That basically made it seem like I can't say what the exact language is, but attorneys that see this will know exactly what I'm talking about, and probably everybody else. But it was a paragraph that says something like, almost was turning Karmelo into the aggressor. Like if you believe that he was the aggressor in this case, blah blah blah, and that's the jury charge is a bunch of it's a packet, and it has all the law that the jury is supposed to depend on in it. The judge reads it to them before they deliberate. It's a very big deal. So my point is, if it ain't in the jury charge, you can't depend on it. And if it is in the jury charge, it has to be law. It has to be good law. So if you put bad law in the jury charge and the jury use that to render their verdict, sounds like an appealable issue.
Correct.
Yeah, and don't the jury rely heavily on instructions from the judge? So if the judge say, hey, you need to be thinking this way. I'm gonna send you back here and I need you to come back out and look, y'all need to come up with a decision right now, today. That would be overstepping his boundaries, but I've heard of judges being able to do stuff like that. And doesn't the jury rely heavily on the instructions from the judge?
Are you talking about when the judge was like, I'm gonna put y'all in a hotel tonight if y'all don't have a verdict? I think that was improper, man. I think that was improper because you were basically rushing them to a decision. It might be a jury here that's ready to go home. It might be a jury here that want to go home to his babies tonight. He ain't trying to go to no hotel. Damn what the judge talking about. I ain't trying to do that, judge. So I'm finna go and check this box right here. I'm strong on not guilty, but it's cool, y'all. Let's go ahead and be guilty about it. See, those are the kind of things that entice the jury to go outside the bounds of what their duty is. That's why you don't say that. You say to them, hey, y'all get this done as quickly as possible. Any questions y'all have, y'all sit back to the bench and we'll get both sides in there and we'll go over them. But telling them what you're gonna do if they don't render a decision quick enough, how can you not think that didn't affect that decision? I mean, they're supposed to feel like they got all day. They got forever in a day as long as it's the correct verdict and they render the
Correct.
Hey, wait, they're not supposed to feel like it's a shot clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the shot clock on 5, you look to shoot the ball. It's as simple as that. So.
Yeah, and it could be also a situation where a juror may think that if he doesn't follow the directions of the judge, that somehow he might find himself in hot water with the courts. So there's a lot of jurors who show up for jury duty. They're not really acclimated to jury duty. They don't really know how the process goes. And so they're counting on the prosecution and they're counting on the judge, who, by the way, gets this check from the same people.
By the way.
To give them proper instructions legally. You know what I'm saying? You heard the 911 call. Then we get the
Yes.
You heard it? Okay, so you heard the 911 call. Was there anything in that 911 call that could have been helpful or hurtful to either side that wasn't emphasized during the trial?
Not really to me, because you don't hear him say who's around him. You see what I'm saying? When I listen to a 911 call, I'm trying to see who's all in the room because I want to subpoena them as a witness. I'm trying to see, how many, who else called the police, who was all there, who saw, who heard, whatever. On the 911 call, he's pretty much just hysterical, and he's saying that the guy's bleeding, and I think he describes Mr. Anthony as standing on the field or something. But he don't really say anything like, hey, Chris, pass me that ice up. anchor, hold his legs up. You know, it's nothing really that you could grab off of there to use to, you know, turn it into something helpful to me. You know, now I do hope that they, and I wrote the guy's name down, I ain't gonna say it, but he says his name on the recording. And, you know, I do hope they cross-examine him or call him as a witness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it seemed like they weren't working with, didn't have much to play with. You know, so I hope that that's something something teeth into. You know, I wouldn't know though, but yeah, I hope they did.
Yeah. What do you think about the public reaction to all of this, man? You know, do you think that social media has made things more clear in terms of viewing the evidence for the public? Or do you think that it actually has made objective analysis more difficult?
I think people's concern and their question of his attorney and this entire situation are legitimate. I think the questions are legitimate. I think that there's no way for somebody like me that went to law school to see this go on and not have questions. I think the Frisco Police Department kind of did some weird stuff too by letting people go down and watch the video. You see, I don't really trust that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but you gotta understand, me being a defense attorney, the prosecutor is required by law to give me everything, right? So there's a very controlled environment where that happens, right? And I get everything. So I can figure out if it's something you ain't getting. You see what I'm saying? But, you know, how do you know it's the full video? Who's regulating when the video starts? When the video, you know what I'm saying? And I've never had a murder case where people in the public were allowed, and they were broadcasting that they were allowed to go down and watch the tape. It's almost like they were trying to taint the jury pool under the radar. See what I'm saying? If, you know, if it's I don't know numbers, if it's 2 million people in Collin County and 200,000 of them seen the video, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I know 200,000 people that see the video, but I'm just saying, you don't know who's gonna be called down to be on your jury. And you letting random people just come see the evidence. Jury not supposed to even see the evidence until the case starts. They're not supposed to feel no kind of way about the evidence. They're not allowed to read anything online about the trial, during the trial. They're not allowed to go home and talk to their husband about it. They're not allowed, none of that until you start deliberating. That's when. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, that was just very weird of them. And it's almost like this fake transparency. Right? Think about this. You letting random people come watch the video at the police station, but the judge ain't letting no black reporters in. Are you transparent or are you not transparent? You see what I'm saying? Do you know, it's kind of like they hiding the ball somewhere. Like, why would you be this transparent over here with the evidence, but don't nobody except people that was in the courtroom know what's going on in the courtroom? You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like a fake, it's like a pump fake. You know, I don't trust it. So you ask, how do I feel about people's response, the public's response? And what I'm saying is, I think there were a lot of things done to kind of confuse the public and to make them choose a side. I mean, how people going to see the same video and some people saying it was punches, it wasn't no punches. Now we're not arguing if it was self-defense. We arguing if he was even under the umbrella, if he was even under the umbrella at the time. Now we arguing if it was, you know, it was too much going on, man. And I think that, you know, we should have been a lot more quiet about our approach. That's how I would have been as an attorney. I wouldn't have done press conferences. I wouldn't have threw the race card out there. I wouldn't have done. Then folk wouldn't have knew what I was doing until I hit them with it. Until I had my suit and my briefcase, they wouldn't have knew what I was doing. You know, do I think race plays a role in this?
They do.
I kind of do, but that's something that you kind of. That's something you keep in your back pocket until it's time to pull it out. You feel me?
Correct.
You don't leave with that and let these white folks know for a year what your angle is.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? That's something I would have kept in my back pocket. And out of these 21 witnesses, you know, all the pieces of evidence that come in, as soon as something comes in and support more than it was a race,
I agree.
that's when you bring it out.
Correct.
Everybody ain't ready for it. They gotta think on their feet.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna
Yeah,
think on my
correct.
feet. See, if you can't think on your feet, you're not a good attorney. You're not a good
Correct.
trial attorney.
Correct.
So all that, letting them know what the play was and being in the media, I just think that kind of hurt. But that's the past, though. That's the
Correct.
past. I don't mean to be negative. I don't want our people to think that I'm, that's the past. But as far as how the public responded, I think a lot of things were done to make us look this way. Now everybody focused on race, and it's so much race conversation that, inmates ain't even prepared for the case. I mean, how the defendant not ready? And I don't even think that falls on Mr. Anthony. I think that falls on the attorney. I don't just lean over and whisper in my client's ear, hey, you ready to go next? You testify next. And put it on him. I don't do that. I mean,
Correct.
17 and 1, I never did that. In 12 years, I never, you prepare him. You do psychodrama.
Correct.
You ask him questions for you to get to know him. You ask him
Correct.
questions for him to get to know himself. You talk about why he thinks the way he thinks.
Correct.
Then after you do all the preliminaries, then you have him tell you the story over and over
Correct.
over
Correct.
again
Correct.
until he's so comfortable with it he can say it in his sleep. Then it don't matter what the DA done did at trial. Because see, my defendants, they be like this, Will. Is it my turn yet? Okay. They be ready. They be ready. You know what I'm saying? It don't be no, 10 minutes of this my time. And we prepared for this. So, But yeah, very unfortunate. But I think he got a good shot, man, with the team he has, man. Yeah, a whole lot of faith in them boys, man. Russell and Justin, man, and them other attorneys, excuse me. Whole lot of faith.
Yeah. It was reported that the father, Jeff Metcalf, had a barbecue and he invited the witnesses to his house. And it was also reported that he offered bribes to the witnesses to make sure that they testified in a way that was consistent with the outcome that he wanted. If that is true, that is
He need to
definitely
be in jail.
grounds for a retrial, right?
Correct.
If that is true, that needs to be investigated to the fullest extent. I don't know
Correct.
if
They
it
all
gets
need
him
to be
an automatic
investigated.
new
Correct.
trial, but I know it gets him something.
Because one here, you got to leave your house. You just shouldn't tell them what to say and what not to say.
Yeah,
He need to be in jail. The damn
witness
thing.
tampering for sure. But him getting charged with witness tampering because of it, and
They need to
Karmelo
put him in
getting
jail for
inside the
witness, for
trial,
witness
I
tampering.
think
They need to put his
that
father in
probably
jail
is
because his
in the
father
realm
should
of
be doing the sentence
possibility, but
behind
that's a
now.
long road.
Why the hell you talking to the
appeal
witnesses
is a
and
long
telling them
road,
what to say and what
period.
not to say? The father need to be in jail
I think
for witness
maybe
tampering.
going at
I agree.
the improper things that were done by the judge, that could be backed up with some law. See, an appeal, you want to throw the kitchen sink at them. You want to throw everything at them. You probably throw your strongest argument first, and then, everything else falls by the wayside. But you need law to support it.
Correct. Correct.
So you
Correct.
want
Correct.
to, all you need to do is prove one issue. You see what I'm saying? So if you throw
Correct.
15 issues at them and you only prove one, if it's irreversible error, you'll win. But like I say, an appeal is a long process. He has a good team of attorneys that will do, all the legwork and all the legal work that needs to be done in order to do the process right and see that he's treated fairly. But, people need to know, 90% of appeals get denied. You see what I'm saying? So this ain't really something we want to rush on. This is something we want to make sure we get right. And the attorneys that he has, I think they'll get it right. I think they'll be very meticulous, and they'll make sure that every box is checked and every stone is overturned for sure. Yeah.
Hey, if this happened 10 years ago, do you think that the public's response would have been the same, considering that people wasn't as active on social media?
I think it probably would have been the same. Black community been through a lot, man. We've been through a lot during the social media era, man. Unarmed people getting killed by the popo, and I mean, we got a lot of reasons to feel the way we feel to the multitude that we feel it. I think it would have been the same 10 years ago. And I ain't mad at us neither. Who gonna look after us but us? But we want to make sure that we know what the law says. We want to make sure that we know what the facts were, and then we want to move, in the best way we can to help that boy out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think probably would have been the same. And you think it would have been different?
No, I think it would have been the same because we didn't have social media, but we got the news, which mainstream news, you can't really trust mainstream news, but mainstream news is such media hogs that they will put any story out and anybody that want to talk, they gotta keep on putting information out. They just gonna feed the beast. And so someone's gonna be, they're gonna show both sides. They're gonna show the protests, they're gonna show the supporters, they're gonna show both sides because that makes for good media for them and it does well for them in regards to the numbers.
Yeah. I agree, man. I agree. I mean, social media might have been a little bit more wild 10 years ago, honestly. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think Carmelo is going to fall into that 10% where he gets that new trial. Oftentimes, yeah, you can argue law when it comes to appeals. You can argue law, and you may have a great point, but you may not get that appeal because hey, nobody's really paying attention to the case. Nobody cares. But the world eyes is on this case, and so they got to now dot those I's and cross those T's. Little old Collin County thought they were going to be able to hang this boy and bury the case, and nobody would care. And little did they know, that's why I believe that they did not allow cameras into the courtroom. I think they were trying to quietly make this thing go down. We gonna do what we want to do. We gonna hang them high. I'm gonna give him a 35-year sentence, and ain't nothing nobody gonna be able to do about it. This is what I don't understand. So you got a range of punishment from 5 to 99 years, right?
Right.
That was his range of punishment, 5 to 99.
Right.
And so I was always under the impression that the low end was for those people in society who may be more redeemable, who had, who probably made a huge mistake, but it wasn't malicious. It wasn't a calculated malicious event. And so if you look at Carmelo Anthony's, and first of all, if you look at what happened, he didn't instigate the incident. He didn't initiate anything. He was sitting down minding his own business and he was accosted by a bully. Now, okay, so he stabs the guy. You can believe whatever you want to believe about how he stabbed him.
Right.
And the guy dies.
Right.
It was not premeditated. It was not planned. It's something that happened. You have people who commit crimes of passion, kill their spouse after catching them with somebody else, catching them cheating, and get 10 years in prison. I'm talking about grown people who are in their 30s and 40s, whose minds are as matured as they should be by that time, and they get 10 years, but you give this child 35 years who otherwise is an exemplary citizen. He doesn't get it. He is a model kid at home. He's an honor roll student. He's not a troublemaker. People like him.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, the bonus is that he actually saved somebody's life before. If he don't qualify for the low end, if he don't qualify, I think he's 100% innocent. But let's just say he's guilty and let's give him that. He's guilty. If he don't qualify for the 5 years, who the hell does?
Exactly. Look, I mean, that's one of the things that they may have a play on ineffective assistance of counsel. What did you say? Most of the time, the lower numbers for the people who are redeemable, right? Who are exemplary citizens, right? That's what mitigating evidence does in the punishment phase. All he had to do, look, I reached out to the mom of the person who's like Karmelo said. I reached out to the mom and I had one question. I just had one question. I wanted to know, was she subpoenaed? She said no. I would have been there.
Wow.
I mean, she said no. I would have been there. You gotta understand, to not even have her on ice, you're supposed to have her in the waiting room or sitting down by the vending machines with a Coke and some chips, waiting on you to send her the text. You see what I'm saying? You're supposed to have her in the building. You gotta understand, that's why not calling him is so futile and it's so egregious. You didn't call him in the guilt and innocence phase. Okay, I don't understand that either. But that's the guilt and innocence phase. Once the verdict came down, now all you guys are focused on is getting him the least amount of time possible. Willie, I promise you, anywhere between 10 to 15 times during that trial, the prosecutor said the words indifference in human life, doesn't care about life. The entire time they were saying statements to make him seem like he is a person that has no regard for human life. Okay? It ain't nothing that rebuts that more than putting him up there for him to say, I actually saved a life. I mean, I actually risked my life to save a life. You see what I'm saying? They could have had something for them to look at. They could have had the newspaper article, entered that into evidence, or had the judge take judicial notice of it, publish it to the jury. And while I got Karmelo on the stand telling him about the decision he made to make sure somebody else, continued to breathe, I got the jury looking at the evidence, looking at the paper, passing it to the next jury, looking at the paper, reading the article. You see, so they can see that this man, quite frankly, he does have a regard for human life. And he doesn't have a reckless disregard for human. I mean, so to not even put your bid in on that, to not even it's one thing not to call her, to not even subpoena her says she wasn't part of your preparation. It says she just wasn't on the list. I mean, it might be 50 different witnesses, and I put a dash and I put their role in the case. You see what I'm saying? And if you know that was her role, that she felt good enough to not only go on social media, but to get in a newspaper article and give him praise for saving her son's life, she wouldn't have no problem doing that on the stand. He called Karmelo's mom. Okay? That ain't no fault to Karmelo's mom. I'm sure she did the best she could up there. But not letting him explain. And another thing, you said that it was heat of passion or whatever. Okay. People don't know. Once a guilty verdict for a murder comes out, you get a second bite at the apple to get sudden passion, right? So he could have put Karmelo up there. They could have did away with the self-defense stuff. No one talking about self-defense, but he could have put him up there in the punishment phase and had him say that he did that because he was so angry that the Metcalf boy tried to punk him, or that the guy, something. He could have got up there and explained to them why. It wasn't premeditated, and it was just something he did that was based on heat of passion. They didn't even do that. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. I'm with you. Somebody diving in a pool to save somebody else, man, that's a certain type of person. You see what I'm saying? And the jury deserved to know that. And Karmelo deserved better than that. He deserved for the jury to know that not, I ain't saying it equals out, but it certainly takes away from the prosecution's claim that I don't care about life.
Correct.
Which could have took that 35 down to 15, or could have took the 35 down to 5. So and honestly, another thing about sudden passion, if the jury feels that it was sudden passion, it takes you back to 2. I think it takes you back to 2 to 10. I think it takes you back to 2 to 10, and they wouldn't have been able to give him more than 10. I'm almost positive it does. But it's just the point I'm making to you. You see how the avenues I'm explaining to you, it's just too many different roads to get them the result that they saw.
Correct.
And for no road to be taken at all, man, that's just, like I say, the people's concern is legitimate, man. It's legitimate.
So I've been hearing a lot of chatter in the background. People are saying things like his parents, Karmelo's parents, did not sit in on the hearing on the sentencing phase. When they actually sentenced him, when the judge gave him his time, his parents were not there. Can you explain to the slowpokes out there why a loving mother and father may not sit in on listening to a judge give their child who was found guilty time?
She's probably broken, man. I mean, it's a mom. It's a mom losing a son. I've had plenty of moms that you know, after we get the verdict, the not guilty verdict on the murder, right? Well, you know, once we get it, and say there's a guilty verdict on the manslaughter, the lesser included. Well, mama probably sitting in the house for that. You know, she's relieved. She's relieved that you know you didn't get convicted of murder, but it's just too much for him sometimes, man. I mean, those are his parents, man. You know, I've had conversation with the father. I haven't had a conversation with the mom. I assumed it was because she was a little more hands off because she was, you know, going through emotions and dealing with how this, you know, this is emotionally affecting her. But you know, that ain't nothing. Like these are things that are talked about months before, man. You know, when I do a case, I tell people I don't make it to the punishment phase often. I don't. I'm not bragging about that. I'm bragging in the Lord. You know, good Lord, then bless me to have the skills to pay the bills. And most of the time, we get a not guilty. Hence, not guilty boy.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying? But in the event that they do come back guilty, we're gonna have to go through a punishment phase. And I say, give me a list of people that can say something good about you. Give me a pastor that can say something good about you. Pick your favorite teacher of all time and give me her information. And we prepare for that. You see what I'm saying? So my point to you is, you know, I'm sure the attorney was probably aware that mama ain't want to sit in there and listen to that. You know, I mean, she was probably outside trying to keep it together, man. And my heart goes out to that family, man. I mean, you know, I can't imagine what losing a child is like. You know, so I mean, that didn't play that much into anything for me. You know, I tell the mama, I say, mama, do whatever makes you comfortable. I'm gonna go in here and handle business. I'll come out here and tell you what the verdict was. You know, so yeah, I think we gotta be sensitive to that, man. But you know, I can't imagine how hard it is having to emotionally keep it together and still get this work done. Because you gotta understand, an appeal, I mean, it ain't forever. You know, they only got a certain amount of time to hire an attorney, get the investigation done. And so I'm sure they juggling a lot, man. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it's hard to know what they're thinking, though. It's hard to know what they're thinking. You know, I'm sure it's traumatic, though.
As a trial attorney, how hard is it for you to make people still because you know you're often not like you have to deal with families' grief, and you know when they call you, oftentimes you're dealing with people when they're going through one of the roughest patches of their life. You being a passionate guy who does the work that you do with your partner, you know, how much does these type of cases take out of you?
Man, I gotta be humble in the Lord and say it don't take much out of me at all, man. And I'm laughing because I've been asked that before and people don't believe it. But I mean, I haven't worked since May 16th, 2014, man. This is what I was put on this word to do. You know, I was put here to be a conduit of the Lord's grace and mercy, man. You know, everybody got a job to do. I mean, the good books say that, you know, Christ is the head of all government. You know what I'm saying? So my point is, I think he cool with what I do. I mean, he the head of government. Everybody got a job to do. I mean, if you're a prosecutor and you are just as passionate about putting people in jail as I am about keeping people out of jail, I ain't mad at you because I can relate to your passion. Now I'm gonna beat you. I need to beat you. I'm gonna put pressure on myself to beat you because I don't want you to win. I don't want you to gain your objection and put another black man in jail. You understand what I'm saying? So it don't take nothing out of me, man, because I'm very passionate about it. And the way I got into this, because I got in a lot of trouble growing up, and I didn't have a lawyer for me. So I'm very knee deep in my purpose, man. So you know, I think it just comes with the game. If you got to explain to mama what happens to her, maybe if this goes wrong, then that's my responsibility. But I don't think that I try not to pay any attention to the emotional side. The DAs don't do that enough. You know, I got to make sure that I'm sharp. I got to make sure that I'm thinking on my feet, and I got to make sure that I know what the DA's next move is. So it ain't really much time to be sad and going through it. Now, I have been in some trials where the pictures, you know, maybe a baby passed or something, and the pictures kind of mess you up, and you know, if you got kids, but anything other than that, man, I mean, I'm sure other attorneys do, but nah, me and Mike, man, this kind of what we was put here to do, man. So you can have a lot of confidence when you know you got the Lord behind you, you know.
Yeah, and I wanted to show everybody your YouTube channel. This is not guilty boys, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, not guilty boys. This is the YouTube channel. Y'all go follow this channel, man. You're gonna learn a whole lot. Go follow the channel right now. Everybody, y'all know, go follow this channel.
Shout out to Michael Campbell too, man. The other half of Not Guilty Boys, man. Right there stepping.
Come on now. Speak on it, man. We had 589 subscribers at the very least, man. I know we got at least 3,000 people listening. We supposed to be over 3,000 at least subscribers before we get off this line. At least.
We 17 and 1 in murder trials, man. We just trying to get the people something to sink their teeth into, man. Let y'all guys know what the law is.
Okay.
Let y'all know what the
So this is not guilty boys.
do when you pull it over. You know, we just want to be a place y'all can come to see, find out more about the law and how to apply it, man.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Give us a call if you need us. I appreciate you having me on the show, man. I really do. And I'd love to be here again, honestly.
Absolutely, man. I got you, man. I appreciate you coming on the show and imparting your wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Wilkerson, attorney, Andrew.
Yes, sir.
Let me put some respect on his name. That's what's up. No more talk.
Guilty boys.